Tonight on Cronkite News, crackdowns on immigration have begun in another U.S. city.
Plus, the first millennial saint was canonized by Pope Leo XIV. How the teen touched the hearts of millions of Christians around the world.
And how are the Mercury playing as a team with the playoffs only a week away? Stay tuned to see if they're ready for the spotlight. Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Macy Markham.
And I'm Jacob Shanker. Thank you for joining us. Our top story, the Department of Homeland Security sent a surge of immigration agents to Chicago today to target undocumented immigrants. This is on the heels of President Trump's threat to send the National Guard to crack down on crime. Illinois Democrats criticized the move, citing city crime statistics in red states such as Memphis and St. Louis being higher than Chicago's. President Trump, however, defended the move today, saying he, quote, saved Los Angeles with a similar move.
We are a safe city. You can walk to a restaurant. You can walk to the White House if you work there. You can walk to the Capitol. And even the Democrats say, I can't believe it, but they don't want to admit it, but I can't believe it. We could do the same thing in Chicago, New York, Los Angeles. We did it. We saved Los Angeles.
Joining us now to talk about the president's recent comments is Nick Carmia from our Washington, D.C. bureau. Nick, you've seen the troops on the streets of Washington. You've been looking at crime rates in Phoenix and other cities for clues as to where troops may be going next. What have you found so far?
The president has cited out-of-control crime in Washington and Chicago to justify the use of the military, but Phoenix actually has a higher violent crime rate than Chicago. That's homicide, aggravated assault, rape, and robbery. It's also worse than New Orleans, another city the president's talked about. And to that, the fact that violent crime in Phoenix ticked up 2% last year while it was dropping in Chicago and D.C. So just in terms of crime rate, it's not far-fetched that Phoenix could draw his attention.
So how likely is it that a deployment into Arizona will occur?
These deployments do seem to be about more than just the numbers. The federal district is unique in that there's a lot more leeway to exercise presidential authority. Illinois Democrats have been among his sharpest critics, but by comparison, Arizona hasn't been nearly as much of a political hotspot.
How bad is crime in Phoenix compared to other cities?
We scoured FBI crime statistics, and it turns out that 50 U.S. cities have worse violent crime per capita, but again, that doesn't seem to be the president's only metric.
Well, Nick Carmia in Washington, thank you.
State Senator Annalise Ortiz has come under fire for a social media post alerting locals to the presence of ICE officials near an elementary school. Last month, Ortiz shared a post from a community organization stating officials were near Southwest Elementary School. A formal ethics complaint has been filed by state Republicans who are pushing to expel Ortiz from the state legislature. So far, Ortiz has stood by her post.
Meanwhile, the U.S. Supreme Court issued a landmark decision today siding with President Trump on immigration. The court lifted a restraining order barring federal agents from conducting, quote, roving patrols and barring agents from stopping people based on race. The lower court said the patrols potentially violated Fourth Amendment rights and did not establish reasonable suspicion for a stop. The court, which has a conservative majority, did not give an explanation for the reversal. The three liberal justices dissented.
A campaign promise from President Donald Trump is now a reality. No tax on tips passed as part of the One Big Beautiful bill. But this impacts more than just service workers, and it's unclear how much they'll really save. Donald Trump's no tax on tips policy is not limited to restaurant workers. The Treasury's latest list of eligible jobs includes rideshare drivers, nail technicians, and even digital content creators.
It's a whole new learning curve for me with content creation.
The new policy opens up creators to uncertainty about what tax season will look like in 2025. For Aisha Beasley, a podcaster and lifestyle personality in Phoenix, it's one more thing to keep track of.
And just working for myself, because I feel like a lot of creators, they don't realize all the back end stuff when it comes to the taxes and all the financial stuff.
Beasley says most of her income is from brand deals, not considered tips. But creators can also receive direct cash from viewers or fans. Accounting expert Jenny Brown says that could be tax deductible.
Influencers, they think they're receiving these products as gifts. No, they're not gifts. They are compensation for promotion services. And anything that you receive as compensation for services, whether it's cash or a good or service, then you have to declare the fair market value of that in your income.
The new policy allows a deduction of up to $25,000. Brown says it may not make much of a difference to most creators. The Yale Budget Lab estimates tipped workers make up just 2.5% of the workforce, and about 40% of those don't make enough money to pay federal income tax already.
Even when they bring in all that, the top line revenue, they're already eligible to deduct a lot of business expenses. For example, camera, microphone, lighting. And so once you take that out, I don't really know how many digital content creators with tips have taxable income higher than the standard deduction already.
For now, content creators are left to wait and see what this actually means for them when April rolls around.
Worrying about some of these new bills, that how does that affect me? How does that affect if, my podcast grows and we want to, do lives or, stream the podcast or just all these things that I need to keep tabs on.
While there has been bipartisan support for no tax on tips policies, Brown said another concern is that this could stunt support for raising the minimum wage for workers who rely on tips.
A freeway widening project to address traffic congestion near the TSMC campus has begun. The first phase of the three-phase Loop 303 project will widen the road near the Sonoran Desert Drive off-ramp on Interstate 17. Drivers should expect fewer lanes, but ADOT says there should not be closures. The entire project is expected to be completed in 2028.
Coming up next, Oscar winner Tom Hanks set to receive another prestigious award.
But now that may not happen, leaving the actor empty-handed. Find out why Hanks is missing out on his award next after the break.
Plus, sunny skies ahead this week. We'll have the Cronkite weather report after the break.
When I was younger, there were no engineers around me, so I had to become my own role model. At ASU, I wasn't just learning to be an engineer, I was actually engineering. And graduating, I already had real-world jobs lined up. Before ASU, my goal was to be a strong, confident woman. And when I left, I became a strong, confident engineer.
Welcome back. West Point Military Academy has canceled an award ceremony meant to honor actor Tom Hanks. Hanks was set to receive an award recognizing his work, which supported veterans and the military through the big screen. The award is meant to celebrate individuals who exemplify the motto, duty, honor, country. West Point alumni president says the cancellation was made to help cadets prepare for other assignments. The association did not clarify whether Hanks will still receive the award.
Pope Leo XIV has canonized the first millennial saint. Carlo Acutis was a young Italian man who died of leukemia at age 15. During his lifetime, he created a website to discuss miracles and spread his faith. That earned him the title of God's influencer. Today, Christians from all over the world join together in the Vatican to honor the life of Acutis.
I felt like he related to me because he found a way to use technology and love God at the same time and use them in a way, and I feel like I kind of need to do that, and this generation needs to learn how to do that.
He used the internet for positive things. He used the internet to share his information on the Eucharist with other children, with adults. He's touched my life as an older man.
Acutis has since been named a patron saint of the internet.
Howard Stern said today that he was leaving his longtime Sirius XM radio show, but don't worry, it was just a prank. This comes as his future with the company sits in limbo. Last week, he said that he would address his future, but pushed it back to this week. During the show, entertainment host Andy Cohen announced that he would be taking over Stern's show and rebranding it as Andy 100. Multiple news outlets, included the Associated Press, CNBC, and Variety, all reported that Stern was leaving his show. 10 minutes later, he returned to clear the air about the stunt.
Turning now to the weather, we've had a flurry of monsoons over the past 2 weeks, but will they continue to this week?
Kayla McDonald joins us from the Cronkite Weather Center with our forecast.
For thunderstorm chances in the Phoenix metro, it doesn't look like we're in a whole lot of luck, but going into our evening planner, it's still going to be in the hundreds from around 6 to 7 o'clock, and then as the sun sets, we're going to cruise through those 90s up until we get into those early morning lows, where we have 47 degrees up at the Grand Canyon, 50 degrees up in Flagstaff. Some may consider those are nice, but could even be a little chilly. As we get down into the valley, we have 83 degrees in Phoenix, 78 degrees in Casa Grande, and then for our highs, 80 degrees at the Grand Canyon, 77 degrees in Flagstaff. Those are some pretty nice highs. But as we get closer to the valley down here, it's pretty toasty with 107 degrees in Phoenix, 105 degrees in Casa Grande. And we do have some chances for thunderstorm action, but closer to the eastern and southern part of the state, we have some moisture coming up from Mexico. So for Tuesday evening and in Wednesday evening, we have some good chances for thunderstorms down here. With thunderstorms coming up from the south, it's bringing moisture, but could also adjust our winds. And so as we get some higher winds up in Ajo and with Gila Bend, 23 miles per hour in Ajo, 20 miles per hour in Gila Bend, that could bring up some dust to us in the valley. As we go into that 8-day forecast, still some higher temperatures with 106 degrees for Tuesday and Wednesday, and with that colder air and that moisture coming in, it's going to drop our 100 degrees to our lower 100 degrees through Thursday into the weekend and into next week with 70 degrees for those lows. From the Cronkite Weather Center, I'm Kayla McDonald.
Coming up next, the Arizona Cardinals traveled down to New Orleans for their new season opener against the Saints.
That's right, Kyler Murray and the crew look to start the season strong. Did Jonathan Gannon finally start the season 1-0, or did the Cardinals stumble out of the gate? How the game went and who potentially shined when we come back on Cronkite News.
This is where Cronkite can be creative.
You meet so many new people who are on different communities, and when you do that, you're able to network not only, but also get to engage, talk to people, and make life friends.
I think that definitely surprised me, the community that I would find, because I wasn't really expecting it.
Freedom.
Friendly. Nice. I'd say cozy.
As a teacher, you just want to reach people. You want to make a difference. You want to help them. I have an opportunity to do something I never imagined I would be able to do. Go out and build the best biology class the world has ever seen. When you go into Dreamscape Learn, you put on a set of goggles and you can go anywhere. You can be anyone and do anything. The thing about Arizona State University is they're always thinking about what's next. We can create virtual reality experiences so that you can learn by exploring in a virtual world the way that scientists explore in the real world. And kids can feel that. All these emotions are what help the brain encode information. When I see a student come out of VR, the look on their face is nothing like I've ever seen when I finish a lecture. They look so happy to be there. In that moment, you know that you've reached them.
Welcome to the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Max Williams. I've got a disease, and the only prescription is less cowbell. At least that's what the Sun Devils probably said Saturday night down in Starkville, Mississippi, after their last-second loss to the Bulldogs. After clawing back from a 17-3 halftime deficit, Jesus Gomez kicked a field goal to give the Sun Devils the lead with 1:36 left. But not so fast. The Bulldogs got the ball back and threw a 58-yard touchdown pass to win it, which looked all too familiar to the infamous late-game touchdown by the Texas Longhorns in last year's playoff game. The team will now look to settle back in as they come home.
I think overreacting is one of the reasons why teams that are really, really good can go on downward spirals. And I think that's the nature of sport. The nature of sport is it's results-driven externally. So sometimes you can get lost in the external result of is it in the W column or the loss column. And if you're too drastic because one play was wrong, you do so many things differently. Well, that is a recipe for failure down the road.
Coach Kenny staying positive. Now we move from Mississippi to Louisiana, where it was a successful week 1 for the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals leave New Orleans with a 20-13 win over the Saints. And the big three of Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr., and James Conner all scored touchdowns. And the revamped defense, well, they only allowed 3 points in the second half. It's the first time since 2021 that the Cardinals won their season opener. That season turned out to be big, as the team started 7-0 and earned a playoff berth that year. Playoff expectations are on the rise after Jonathan Gannon started his 3rd year as head coach with a win. Still, the team says they have room for improvement ahead of their home opener this Sunday.
At the end of the day, if we have the right mindset, if we're focused on getting better and improving at all times, then this is the West will be all year. And I know this team and what where our mindset is, and that's why I believe that. And so, obviously we're gonna play some games where we're gonna, it's not gonna be our best ball, and that's football. But hopefully we just continue to improve and do the little things that allow for us to be successful.
Meanwhile, the Saints quarterback has local ties as well. Former Pinnacle High School phenom Spencer Rattler checked off a big career milestone this week, starting his first season opener. Rattler's high school coach had no doubt Rattler would succeed at the highest level.
Spencer is so driven. He was driven at a young age. He's continued that drive. He hasn't wavered. This was the goal when he was an 8th grader, seeing him achieve his goals, and I know he's got more goals as an NFL starter, but it was always to get to the league. So I'm just so happy for him that he's found his way, and it hasn't been easy, but he's found his way along this journey. Obviously, I'm a Saints fan now.
As the Phoenix Mercury gear up for the playoffs, 2 familiar faces are proving to be the driving force behind their recent success. Keon Russell tells us how Alyssa Thomas and Dewana Bonner have been just what this team needs as they eye success in this year's playoffs.
Playoffs are right around the corner for the WNBA, and the Phoenix Mercury have already locked themselves up a spot. A big reason why is the steady leadership from Melissa Thomas and DeWanna Bonner, who are helping shape this team's identity ahead of postseason play.
It's about, fine-tuning ourselves. The first half, we had a lot of injuries, and now the second half has been about us getting our chemistry. And, we're just going to go out there and continue to do things, continue to fine-tune, and get ourselves ready for playoffs.
Thomas is now in her 12th season in the WNBA, and she's arguably having her best one yet. From her impact on both ends of the floor to her unparalleled passion for the game, is something her head coach says he can always rely on.
I've said this about AT is every night you can count on her and count on her in a big way. Just knowing that she's going to bring it each and every night, that gives you a sense of relief as a coach.
And while Thomas has proven to be their go-to and most consistent player, Bonner has embraced the role of being an instant spark since joining the team just 2 months ago. The 16-year veteran with championship experience says she will do whatever it takes to help this team succeed.
I just want to come in and provide energy when I can. They were already playing well before I got here, so I've been doing this for a long time, so it's kind of like muscle memory now. So I'm just happy to be back here, and when I get in that game, I'm just locked in on what I need to do to help.
With Thomas and Bonner leading the way for the Mercury, simply making the playoffs isn't good enough. They're looking to make a statement by potentially hoisting another banner right there in Phoenix Arena.
We're just focusing on, finishing out strong and getting a good seed for the playoffs, and then when that time comes and whoever we play, we'll be ready.
Right now we're in the business of winning games, and so all of them matter.
Never more than right now. In Phoenix, Keon Russell, Cronkite News.
Mercury are playing good. Over the weekend, AT took back the single-season assist record, topping Caitlin Clark's mark of 337 set last year. The Mercury will play their final regular season home game tomorrow night against the Sparks. And another Valley team making a playoff push, the D-backs. The team traded away 47 home runs at the deadline, sending Josh Naylor and Eugenio Suarez to the Mariners for prospects. Since then, they're 21-14, with only better records coming from World Series contenders like the Phillies and Brewers. A young core is at the heart of this return to winning. Blaze Alexander filled in a void at left field. Jordan Lawler and Tyler Locklear are emerging out of their slumps. And the steady trio of Corbin Carroll, Gabby Moreno, and Geraldo Perdomo have kept up their excellent seasons. Now we welcome you to the Weekend Wows, where we take a look at some of the best moments that wowed us the most. We begin with former Sun Devil. You remember him, Cam Scadaboo, who had quite the wow factor in his debut for the New York Giants. Boom, look at the Boo go. Now we're going to go next to New Orleans, where there he is, QB1 Kyler Murray, matching my tie with that pink. I think that pregame fit inspired the Cards for the win. Now in Buffalo, Sunday Night Football. Yeah, that's Matt Prater. I said it right. Matt Prater, who's been practicing kicking field goals at local high schools here in Arizona, just last week, hitting the walk-off game-winning field goal for the Buffalo Bills. Wow, what a clutch kick from the former Cards kicker. That's it for tonight's Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Max Williams. Now back to Jacob and Macy at the desk.
Up next, a family gets close to becoming billionaires.
But the key word is close. That's because they were almost winners of the latest Powerball. Find out how close they were when we return.
This is where Cronkite can be creative.
You meet so many new people who are on different communities, and when you do that, you're able to network not only, but also get to engage, talk to people, and make life friends.
I think that definitely like surprised me, like the community that I would find, because I wasn't really expecting it.
Freedom.
Friendly. Nice. I'd say cozy.
As a teacher, you just want to reach people. You want to make a difference. You want to help them. I have an opportunity to do something I never imagined I would be able to do. Go out and build the best biology class the world has ever seen. When you go into Dreamscape Learn, you put on a set of goggles and you can go anywhere. You can be anyone and do anything. The thing about Arizona State University is they're always thinking about what's next. We can create virtual reality experiences so that you can learn by exploring in a virtual world the way that scientists explore in the real world. And kids can feel that. All these emotions are what help the brain encode information. When I see a student come out of VR, the look on their face is nothing like I've ever seen when I finish a lecture. They look so happy to be there. In that moment, you know that you've reached them.
One man got one number away from a fortune.
Louisiana resident John Stokes bought a ticket on September 1st for the $1 billion Powerball jackpot.
He matched the final red Powerball and 4 white ball numbers, but he just missed the last white ball. He won $150,000, leaving a jackpot of $1.79 billion to be split by 2 people on Saturday night. Saturday's jackpot was the second biggest in lottery history. That's it for tonight's edition of Cronkite News. I'm Macy Markham.
And I'm Jacob Shanker. Thank you for joining us.